Hey guys, welcome back. This is part 2 of my 50 NL ante session. We've gone to a few interesting spots before, so I've got 4 tables running. I'm sat out at most of them, but they should resume pretty quickly. So, without further ado, we saw some interesting spots last session in terms of some weaker players raising the river when they shouldn't, and those reads influencing our decisions for the next hand. So on table 3 we have an interesting, well, it's not really an interesting spot. I think 100 big blinds deep, you could consider putting this into a 3-bet range, but with 250 big blinds deep, it's just not going to play very well versus a calling range. You're just going to get completely owned out of position. With 2 overs, I'm going to peel flop versus that sizing. And 8-7, I'm going to call. You could also consider 3-betting this. Out of the big blind, I will be a little bit more polar because of all the awesome pot odds I'm getting pre. And I'm just going to make a standard size value bet on the river with King-Queen. So check call flop with 8-7, and now I'm going to probably check fold turn. I'm going to overcall King-6 suited. And check. And I am bet folding on table 3. I don't expect much fold equity versus a weaker player, so I'm just going to limp 6-8. And King-6, I am just going to give up. I'm going to bet for protection / value with 6-8. And I'm going to overcall 10-8. And give up. Yeah, just trying to get the showdown with 6-8. I mean, we win sometimes, not very often. If he bets, we're just going to fold. Okay, so that's fine. We don't pick up any equity with 8-10, so I'm just going to keep checking. If I was heads up, I'd probably bet river, but 3-way, I just think they still have some Queen X in their range. So we can see he limped Ace-4 off button. Jack-8, bit too weak. Would call suited though. I'll definitely be calling a lot of suited combos in position versus a 3-bet. Try and get a heads up table going. So 8-7, I think I will flat since we have the weaker player behind. He'll come along always, and he just plays really well deep in position. Video run good is real. So I'm just going to be betting. I mean, we just have so much equity. Probably just get it in if anyone raises. But I think once the reg checks, he's almost always folding because with a weaker player in the pot, he's just going to be fast playing all of his value, in my opinion. So you can play pretty face up versus that. If there wasn't a weaker player behind, I'd consider 3-betting this, but I think he's just going to cold call anyway, so there's not much point 3-betting it, in my opinion. Easy ISO with King Jack. So that's an interesting note. So limp fold, CP versus bottom ISO. It's kind of rare to find weaker players that limp fold these days. Evidently he did. So King 3 I'm going to open because there's two weaker players in the blinds, and I'm going to overcall 8-4, and I think with my straight draw I'm just going to have to bet 5-6. He calls. It's a pretty bad turn. I don't really expect to have any fold equity on it, so I'm just going to give up and go fold King 3 versus 3-bet. He checks back. It's tempting to turn this hand into a bluff, but I just don't think he'll be folding. So I can see two weaker players on table 4, so I will be opening Jack 8. I just want to get into many spots with nurses as possible. He seems to be playing 100% of hands. Given he does have such a wide range pre-flop, I'm just going to start betting. We have some really good backdoors that we can barrel. And this deep with 10-8, I'm just going to be calling. 100 big blinds deep, this would be a fold. So that's a pretty good board for our range. If he bets, I will just be calling though. So that's one of the good backdoors that I mentioned. So I'll continue betting and calling with 10-8. And when he calls twice, I am just going to probably give up river. I don't really think he's going to be folding anything that he calls twice with. The money's going to be coming from value betting against the weaker players. Not by bluffing. So that's a pretty bad river, to be honest. I think he c-bet some ace-king combos. I'm just going to check back. Okay, so I think turn is just a check back because there's not really much point in betting. We're not going to be getting called by worse, and I don't really think our hand is weak enough to be turning into a bluff. So I think we played it fine. Jack 7 versus min raise again with the antes, I'm just going to be calling, and Jack 7 suited I'm just going to be isolating. And c-betting the dry board. A lot of 9s in a check call range, so I just will be giving up. I was expecting to float a lot of ace-x on the flop, given such a dry board, so okay. So we can also note that. Check, trips, and whatever. So we can see that he's a little bit trappy. Yeah, so that's fine. I think his turn check is okay, given we are so deep. There's not really that much worse that we can start calling, apart from maybe this hand. So, pot controlling seems fine. That's really a theme of ante. You really need to start pot controlling if you are deep. King, queen. I think I'll have enough backdoor flush draws with overs to be able to float, so I don't really have to defend this hand. The games do seem pretty soft, so we're just going to try and play pretty straightforward. Ace-6 is just going to be a flat to keep the weaker player in. Ace-jack off, sorry. We're way ahead of his range, and I don't expect it to be folding anything. Same theme as last time. I don't expect the reg to really be bluffing here very often. So I'm just going to fold versus a bet. I'll have better hands to defend with here. Queen Jack, I'm just going to be betting twice and probably checking the river. And 9s, I'm just going to re-ISO, so I'm just going to check back river. If he leads, I'm probably just going to fold. Okay, so he peels twice with ace high. Again, we're just noting things. That's a pretty good board for 9s, but I think I'd want to be... Against regulars, you definitely want to be pot controlling these textures, but I just expect him to be playing very honestly, so if we get raised, we can just take it from there. Turn, I think I'm going to bet again and then check the side river. Not that river. We've seen that he is quite trappy with rivers, and he's so passive pre that I just never expected him to bluff if I check to. So I'm just going to bet fairly large and don't expect to get folds by any sets or two pair. A6 is really annoying already, to be honest. And with two weaker players to act, I'm just going to be calling. So I'm just going to fold here. It's close to the bottom of our flop peeling range. So he jams, so I'm just going to call. Wow. No money in poker, everyone's solid. Yeah, I mean, that's just like, what the fuck are you doing? Sevens I'm going to call versus squeeze. If this guy, so I'm just going to ISO and try and get it in versus our donator on table 3. I'm also considering stopping playing Zoom forever and playing these games. They are just ridiculous. I haven't seen that happen since like 2009, that sort of play. Unbelievable. Interesting, so you can see our friend here has a leading range on this board. We just have much better hands to defend with here, so good fold. So it looks like our friend topped up, which is great for us. I'll be raising really wide whenever he's in the big blind, because he's probably going to be on tilt now. Good regs should notice this and start not 3-betting their value range in this situation. At least that's what they should in theory. I don't know if they're too observant at 50 NL. Again, just going to be raising pot with King 10 and giving up with Ace 10 four-way. And that's a board I'm definitely just going to be giving up on. I'll be checking a lot of hands here as pre-flop raiser because it's a really hard board to play. It's an interesting turn. I'm going to go small and make a blocking bet on the river with Ace 10. Any king would bet. It's a pretty interesting board. I think I'm just going to check call. I don't expect Ace High to be betting the river. Yeah, so that's fine. We get min 3-bet with Queen 9 again, just not folding any of my raising range there, given the pot odds. And if he bets, I'm just easy fold. So you can see, as I usually like supporting, I've got everyone tagged in colours so I know what they are. I'm going to lead out for value with 9-3. He min raises, I'm just going to call and check to him, yes. So we've got, so he jams and I'm just going to fold. Not much to say there. And I call with my open ender and I think he has a lot of Queen X, but I just don't think he's going to be folding, to be honest. Okay, we sometimes win, I guess. Okay, so we've got a heads up table, which is good, so hopefully we'll get into some interesting spots. I got him tagged as a regular. Let's see my notes. Okay. Interesting. So it seems like he's pretty aggressive, so it should be a bit of fun playing him. I don't think I've done any heads up content yet, but I'm pretty comfortable with my heads up game. I start quite a few tables at 100 now when I play regular, so on this board I don't have to go very big because it's so dry. I expect him to be peeling a lot of ace highs here, given it is so dry, so I can apply a lot of pressure on any ace 10 and then check back queen and jack and value bet river. So 8-7 easy defend. When the 8 turns, I will be checking and betting river if he checks back, calling if he bets. Some might say he's kind of insane, so we'll see how that comes to fruition. I expect most of his spade draws to be semi-bluffing the flop with, so I think this is just a queen and overwhelming amount of the time, so I think I'm just going to be folding. Again, if I had better reads, I'd probably end up stationing that hand. 4-9's close. If he's got a very high 3-bet percentage, you can fold pre-flop. So Jack 4 is probably close to the bottom of my peeling range. Just with the antes, you got to peel so wide. And when he checks, I think I'm just going to start betting. I've got his check fold stat as 61. So I'm just going to be pretty much barreling off. It's an interesting turn. It's one of the few turns I wasn't going to barrel actually. I'm just going to check back. And give up. We're just getting like bottom 5 percentile hands, so not much you can do. 7s, I'm going to flat this deep and call a half pot bet. I have a lot of 4s in my check call range, so I'm not going to be loving if he bets. I'm going to make one of my blocking bets on the river, and he folds. I just don't think he's going to be turning anything into a bluff, and he may just call with ace high. So queen jack, we have some decent backdoors. I'm just going to bet for half pot. Blind versus blind. That's another thing about reg tables, you can get confused as to what positions you are when people are sitting out. So pretty standard pre-flop spots everywhere. We get 4-bet here with queen 10. I think this deep we can peel. It's not going to get very fun if he starts barreling off. But Chinese players tend to be pretty speary, so I'm going to call probably twice and fold the river. Actually, I think I might just fold turn. He's pretty passive over a small sample. This is pretty bad game theory wise, but the limp re-raise, like big bet, is generally not very bluffy, and there's really not many bluffs you can have on that turn. Well, I expect him to limp call most of his suited stuff and connected stuff, so... So this is definitely a 3 street hand with Queen 10. Depending on the turn, I may have some different sizings, like some overbets for value. So he seems to be folding like 54% of flops, so I'm just going to bet this hand. Pretty player dependent because it's not a very high equity hand versus a calling range. He also seems to be playing pretty tight pre. Seems to be folding quite a lot of buttons, so this is easy to defend with Jack 7. I'm just going to be folding. Not much to say, really. Forward's just going to flat. And I'm trying to get to showdown, I think. 2 bets, I'm probably just going to fold. I'm just going to overcall ace 8. Yeah, I'm just going to be folding. Just plays very poorly against a betting range. Has so much equity against us. I'm playing him on another table, so if any interesting spots come up there, I will pull the table over. 10-4's close. I'm going to defend with the antes. Very marginal though. I know some players at higher stakes will defend 100% versus a min raise with antes. I don't know if you can do that at 50 NL because of the rake, but for the purpose of the video, I will just start playing a bit looser so I can get into more spots. We can see he's playing a 40-33 type VPIP PFR, which is, I think, a bit too tight for ante. So King 5, easy defend. Really close spot on the flop. He doesn't seem to be c-betting too much, only 55% heads up, which is pretty low, so I'm just going to give him credit and fold. Though there's definitely a case for floating there. Easy defend ace 8, and I'm just going to try and show down with Jack 4. Okay. I'm going to fold flop with the bad end of the gutter. So he 3-bets, again I'm just going to call. That's a really good flop. Gonna 3-bet jacks. So this is definitely a board I'm gonna have a raising range on. This plays really decent as a raise. This has so much equity. 8 high boards, you can generally have like a 30%-ish raise stat. So he calls. That's like one of the only turns that I wasn't going to barrel, so I'm going to check back. Trying to realize some of our equity. I expect him to be checking this river quite often. The reason is that most of his ace-X won't be betting flop unless it's ace-X of clubs. If it is ace-X of clubs, then it's not going to be a strong enough hand to value bet the river with because we block the jack of clubs. That'd be like the only combo that he... Maybe ace-8 of clubs he can bet also. But it's a very rare combo. So 7's an easy defend. That's a flop I will be folding. We just have very poor equity versus betting range. And 5-3, I'm going to bet when check 2. Definitely going to double barrel that board. Expect to have quite a bit of fold equity, given it's a king. And I think I'm just going to bet like quite small to make him fold some random 9x. And we are at like the nut bottom of our range, so he shouldn't really have too many ace-X unless it's a 2-pair. And I think all 6x and 7x will fold to this bet regardless. It just looks like thin value going from the king. Though who knows if he thinks that deeply, he may just sigh and call anyway. I think this is too weak to call with 10-3, so I'm just going to use it as a 3-bet. Okay, so he did call with an 8. That's whatever. Let's see. Going to check back with 10-3. He has a very high fold to 3-bet, which is the reason I did that. He bets turn, I will reluctantly call. And that's a river that's just never going to get bluffed. So, sizing tells just everything. It just makes it an easy fold. Just going to bet the gutter with 10-9. Cool. 8-5, just going to fold. So I've got another table heads up with him. Again, I'm probably just going to raise like 90 to 95%. I don't think we need to start raising 100% given he does have quite a high 3-bet stat. So we get re-ISO'd with ace-4, not much we can do except fold. Ten seven's close, I'm going to make a tight fold. Okay, so I'm probably going to wrap up this video. We got into some interesting spots, battling with some of the 50 regs. They seem to be kind of tight and spewy at the same time, which is a weird combo. And I'm going to make a small value bet. I'm just going to min bet. No, I'm just going to take showdown. Okay. Must be pretty clairvoyant today. I think that's a really close spot. Let's do whether we can value bet the ace. Given he does seem so fit or fold, like, it's probably just better to play it as a check. Yeah, we'll play this jack's hand and wrap it up. Not sure. Yeah, so I'm just going to squeeze here to, let's see, I think 8's reasonable. Given stack depth. he has quite a high 4-bet stat of around 33, so if he 4-bets, I'm probably just going to jam. That's an interesting flop. He has a very high, low fold to C-bet, so this is one of those boards where I'm just going to go small with my range. It's nice because a lot of his range that will call won't be betting themselves, like 8s, 7s and stuff. So I'm going to check turn. If he checks back, value bet river. I'm going to call once if he bets, and then fold the river versus a jam. Okay. So, don't really expect him to have too many flush combos, so I think we can just go for value like small half pot. And expect to get called by like 8s, 9s. Wow, did not expect that. So he had a very high 4-bet stat, so I'd expect him to get that in pre. That's interesting. Yeah, I think we played it fine. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the series. If you want me to do more regular table stuff, just let me know in the comments. I can do some more Zoom videos if you'd like, or some hand histories. Also, if you want to look at Cardrunners EV stuff, I could maybe do some simulations of that. Again, I really appreciate all the feedback, so let me know. Anyway, good luck at the tables, guys.